Oh, hello there people of YouTube. You caught me in the middle of cleaning one of my favourite games of all time ever. It's an absolute classic and I recommend it to absolutely everybody. So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, as I absolutely love hidden gems, strange and unusual games, I want to talk about 3 games that came out early in the PS2's life. These games came out at a time when nothing really came out that was like them, and it was really used to shake the mold, change what's happening, and breathe new life into gaming, especially over here in Europe. The games came out early in the PS2's life. So what are we going to talk about? We are going to talk about games. So we've got Mr. Mosquito, Mad Maestro, and Way of the Samurai. Excuse the poor lighting. It's a Oscar-winning production, I'll tell you that for a fact. So, let's talk about these 3 games and the idea behind them. So, what happened was, when the PS2 came out, Eidos, who make and publish Tomb Raider, who are now acquired by Square Enix, came along and thought, well, Europe's pretty hard done by, which is true. We were. At the time when PS1 and PS2 came out, we really didn't get very many RPGs from Japan. We would get 1 or 2, we'd get big hitters, but no really niche titles like Xenosaga or anything like that. What Eidos wanted to do was pretty much bring out some of the really strange niche titles that had come out in Japan, bring them out and show off what could come further for the UK market. So the first 2 that came out at about the same time, first one was, as we were talking, Mr. Mosquito. So, Mr. Mosquito, what happens? What do you do? Essentially, it is a game where you are a mosquito. Fair enough, I think that's pretty much self-explanatory. But what happens is, Mr. Mosquito, being a mosquito, as the name implies, I know you're surprised by that, he's a mosquito. What happens is, you have to fly around the home of a Japanese family and essentially steal their blood, suck their blood, and just keep alive. There are 2 ways you can go about it. You can sneak around all stealthy if that's what you absolutely want, or if you want, you can perform air attack, going all guns blazing. If this happens, well, you're going to have to fight the family, whether they have fly swatters, pesticides, insecticides, or anything like that. The nice cool thing about the game is each room is one of the levels, so it's quite big and you can fly around and things like that. But the interesting thing, the thing that makes it even more odd than you would even think from a game where you play a mosquito who flies around sucking blood, is that the game takes on quite a weird family dynamic, and as you suck the blood from the family, you see the family almost break down and see how they react to each other when they've been stung by mosquitoes, when they're really annoyed and really angry. It's quite an odd one. It feeds in and makes almost like a drama kind of situation from it, much in the same way that Chibi Robo does for the GameCube, if you've ever seen that. It's a really cool, amazing game about a cleaning robot. I absolutely recommend it. Not the one on 3DS, the one for GameCube. Chibi Robo. Absolutely brilliant. Play a cleaning robot, and as you're cleaning, you go around and you see what happens to the family and their family drama that happens. But anyway, Mr. Mosquito, absolute gem. So as you can see, Eidos also packaged it with their fresh games. This is the nice cool thing that they did. They chucked fresh games, almost like a tag on them all, so that you can see that the idea was it was a fresh, unique and strange and unusual game. The next up that came out pretty much the same time is Mad Maestro. As you can see, same packaging with the fresh games there. This one is probably, out of the 3, one of my favourites, because I really, really love music games, essentially. Is a game where you play as an orchestra. You really play as the maestro of the orchestra. You play as the conductor. What you would do is you would use your analog sticks to, look at that, you see, zooming out. You would use your analog sticks to move your baton, or baton, depending on however you want to describe it, to conduct the orchestra. And as you go around and do different levels, you recruit different people into your orchestra. I absolutely love music games, I'm not going to lie, whether it be Elite Beat Agents or even things like Rock Band, which I absolutely adore and still do to this day. They're really great games. I can't help it. Music is just me. But anyway, Mad Maestro. That's all I'm going to call it. It's not Mad Maestro, it's Mad Maestro. And you have to do that. Look at that. It almost shakes the camera as well. Magic. Mad Maestro is a really cool game where you, like I said, control the orchestra and whiz around from location, playing all different classical tunes from Bach to Handel to Beethoven. I don't know why I put that pronunciation on it, but anyway, so Mad Maestro is the second in the line that they did. And third, quite an interesting one, and one which has lasted a little bit longer in terms of other games and things like that, or at least the other two games, is Way of the Samurai. Maybe it's one that you're a little more familiar with. As you can see, fresh games. We've dropped the yellow banner. Who knows why? Maybe they wanted to give it that moody look, or didn't want to give it the childish funkiness of the other two. Who knows? But Way of the Samurai, what can we say? It's an interesting game that takes place over a couple of days. You play as a samurai, shocking, I know, who comes to town, much in the same way as Sergio Leone's Dollars trilogy, or the Wild West films. You come to town, a man with no name, in the middle of a struggle. There is a turf war going on between a couple of gangs, with the villagers stuck in the middle. Essentially, what you do in the days that the game is spread over, I believe it's 4. It's not going to be a mad weekend. Let's find out. Jog my memory. No, sorry. It doesn't tell us how many days. It says final days. Damn it. But essentially, you have around 3 or 4 days in which you do pretty much what you want as a samurai in the town. You can choose to side with one of the gangs or the other gangs. You can join the villagers stuck in the middle, or you can just not, pretty much. It's pretty cool. There are a lot of different endings, a lot of different things you can do. What happens in the town is dictated by the time system as well. So as you go along, people will have set routines and things that they do on the days, and there are certain events that happen on certain days, as well as places you need to be and things like that. So for example, if you wanted to join one of the gangs and take on the role of hitman or delivery man for them, you can do that, and you're asked to go to a set place at a set time, or to take someone out, you need to go find them. They'll have their own set path, your target, and how you go about it is up to you. Really nice thing though is it's very, very open-ended, in which you can run around and literally just attack and kill everybody in the village if you wanted to in the first day. I wouldn't recommend it though, because you only have one standard sword, and in the game you can whiz around, actual whizzing as well. That's the technical word for it, whizzing. That's what samurai do. And you can whiz around and collect swords. So it can be a more powerful sword or anything like that, and as you go around you can collect these swords and store them for another playthrough. So there are certain swords that you can only get from certain people and from certain factions. Now, it's a pretty cool game. There have been a few others. There is Way of the Samurai 2 that did come out for the PS2, as well as Way of the Samurai 3. I apologise for that. Way of the Samurai 3 came out on the PS3 and the 360. So you could argue that out of all of the games, the fresh games, it was the most successful. Now, maybe there were going to be sequels to Way of the Samurai anyway, and the other two games couldn't really have sequels made for them, or at least ones to come out in the West. Like I said, what's really nice is that Eidos tried to do something really different and took a gamble on selecting a couple of games that were unique, odd, interesting, and bring them out over here in Europe. We had a hard time. We still had a hard time when it came to PS2. I think only now, when things are out digitally, is that we get a lot more games come out over here as we would anywhere else. I do think the one thing that we're missing is these really cool low-budget titles. Yeah, we could say that indie games are doing the same kind of thing, but I don't know. I don't think they're as special or as funky and as unique as some of the games that came out around this time. Let me know what you think. Give me a shout if you've played any of these games yourself, or if you'd like to see anything else, give me a shout. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Adios.